हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती राधाना स्वामी नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसाति गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Rama
Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare, Hare Rama Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Radhana Swamiti Namahe, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namini, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Shesha Shunyavadi Pachatu Desadarani, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauravakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Ravanya, Hare Krishna, Raja Prabhu, Sirisha Mataji, Samita Mataji, Lalit Mohan Prabhu, Dikha Mataji, Akinchan Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Will start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Makankarati Vachalam Pangapurangaite Girim Yakrupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Om Apavitra Pavitro Sarvavastam Vatapi Vayaspare Pundari Paksham Sabhya Pyartaram Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Yeah, we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We are at chapter 4. Chapter 4 entitled as How Shall I Serve You? This is the chapter, so let us continue where we left. Yeah. Mataji, yeah, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prajit and Pranam.
No.
We must conclude that the darkness of the present age is not due to lack of material advancement, but that we have lost the clue to our spiritual advancement, which is the prime necessity of human life and the criterion of the highest type of civilization. Throwing of bombs from aeroplanes is no advancement of civilization from the primitive, uncivilized way of dropping big stones on the heads of the enemies from the top of the hills. Improvement of the art of killing our neighbors by inventing machine guns and by means of poisonous gases, certainly no advancement from primitive barbarism, priding itself on its art of killing by bows and arrows, nor does the development of a sense of pampered selfishness prove anything more than intellectual animalism. Thus, while others were yet in the womb of historical oblivion, the sages of India had developed a different kind of civilization which enables us to know ourselves. They had discovered that we are not at all material entities, but that we are all spiritual, permanent, and non destructible servants of the Absolute.
Continue, Mataji.
The speech continued, describing the horrible consequences of a misspent human life, the sufferings of repeated birth and death. Again and again, Abhay stressed the need to surrender to the spiritual master. He criticized empirical mundane philosophers, godless politicians, and blind sense gratifiers. He repeatedly pointed to the soul's natural and sublime position as the servant of God and as a servant of the pure devotee of God. Abhay, an initiated disciple of a spiritual master for a little more than 2 years, referring to himself as a student, continued. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Samyukta,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Gentlemen, although we are like ignorant children in the knowledge of the transcendence, still His divine grace, my Gurudeva, has kindled a small fire within us to dissipate the invincible darkness of the empirical knowledge. And we are so much so on the safe side that no amount of philosophical argument of the empiric schools of thought can deviate us an inch from the position of our eternal dependence on the lotus feet of His divine grace, and we are prepared to challenge the most erudite scholars of the Mayavada school on this vital issue, that the personality of Godhead and His transcendental sports in Goloka alone constitute the sublime information of the Vedas. He then ended his speech with an eloquent prayer of submission. Personally, I have no hope to have any direct service for the coming crores of births of the sojourn of my life, but I am confident that someday or other I shall be delivered from this mire of delusion in which I am at present so deeply sunk. Therefore, let me with all my earnestness pray at the lotus feet of my divine master to let me suffer the lot which I am destined to do for all my past misdoings, but to let me have this power of recollection that I am nothing but a tiny servant of the Almighty Absolute Godhead, realized through the unflinching mercy of my divine master. Let me therefore bow down at his lotus feet with all the humility at my command.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Sirisha Mataji, are you able to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Continue. Yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
He
Krishna.
submitted both the poem and speech to the harmonist. The poem Abhay's first publication announced him as a competent writer in English, and Swami Bhakti Pradeep, editor of the harmonist, informally dubbed Abhay as Kavi, learned poet. Some of Abhay's godbrothers also picked up on the name and began calling him Kavi. Most of the poem was personal. Most of them, even the sannyasis, were not so proficient in English. But Abhay was not ordinary. They could appreciate that his poem was personal, written out of Abhay's genuine worship and his joy at having accepted a genuine spiritual master. But it was also written strictly in accord with the conclusions of the scriptures. Can I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. For Abhay, however, the glory of his Vyasapita homage came when the poem reached Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and it gave him pleasure. One stanza specifically made Srila Bhaktisiddhanta so happy that he made a point of showing it to all of his guests.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah, Lavanya, you want to read?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Absolute is sentient, thou hast true. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. Somehow in this simple couplet, Abhay had captured the essence of his spiritual master preaching against the Mayavadis, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta took it as an indication of how well Abhay knew the mind of his Gurudeva. Abhay was delighted when he heard that the couplet was pleasing to his spiritual master. One of Abhay's godbrothers compared this verse by Abhay to a verse in which Rupa Goswami had expressed the inner thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and had thus moved him to the ecstasy. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati also found the essay pleasing, and he showed it to some of his devotees. He instructed the editor of the Harmonist, whatever he writes, publish it.
Prabhuji, can you please check the meaning of sentient? Sentient?
Yeah.
Absolute is sentient.
Okay. Okay.
The
Poem of first last.
Able to perceive or feel things.
Okay.
Able to perceive. Absolute is able to perceive through the devotion service, I think. Anyway. You did
Personal.
Yeah, his personal.
Yeah.
His personal. Can feel.
Yes. Read this one also, paragraph, and I'll go to Prabhuji's.
Abhay thought it only natural that he could have many business enemies or competitors because it was a sign of success. But his Bombay competition caused him to lose another good chance to become wealthy. The enemy was the son of Abhay's supervisor at Smith Institute. Both son and father complained to the Smith Institute executives that Abhay Charan Dey was publishing goods from his own laboratory and not Smith's. By this irregular, Abhay lost his position with Smith Institute and his supervisor placed his own son as the new agent. Abhay was again on his own.
Okay. Yes. Very good. Thank you, Lavanya. Raj Prabhu. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Raj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Go ahead.
Yeah, while continuing to help his sannyasa godbrothers in Bombay, he found a two-story building for a rent, Gaulia Tank Road. Everyone agreed it would make a suitable center, and Abhay arranged for the rental and for initial repairs and helped the sannyasis move in. It seemed that his endeavors for spiritual things were always successful, whereas his business efforts were constantly failing. Of course, a few business enemies were no cause for discouragement. Intrigues and losses were always part of the game, and he was still well known in the pharmaceutical business throughout the India. But it wasn't so much that give and take business that disturbed him as his own doubts about whether this was the best way for him to serve his spiritual master. Business was good only if could go side by side with spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya had said that the chanting of Hare Krishna should be spread to every town and village, and Abhay wanted to assist his spiritual master by fulfilling the prophecy, especially by contributing money and helping establish centers. His earnings should not go solely for his family. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Vishwambar Sharan Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please continue.
Ideally, family life and spiritual life should progress side by side. But the difficulty was Abhay's wife. She was disturbed over the business losses and apathetic to the spiritual success. She wanted to stay within the orbit of home and family. And despite Abhay's suggestions, she refused to accept initiation from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. It was his own wife who was his most formidable competitor, and she was weak her opposition right in the womb, where it was least welcome. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Continue.
When Abhay occasionally visited his family in Allahabad, he tried to satisfy them with his good intentions. Business had not gone as so well in Bombay. but he had new plans and he assured his family that there was no need to worry. He planned to do more preaching in his home. The whole family could become more involved in spiritual activities. He wanted to invite guests, hold discussions on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, perform kirtan, distribute prasadam. He wanted to preach just as his spiritual master and god brothers were preaching. Such a program wouldn't require that a sannyasi or a brahmachari come and preside. Abhay could do it himself. This would be an example of ideal household life. But Radharani was unsubmissive. Rather than coming to hear him speak, she stayed with the children in another room taking tea. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. there is the one statement, right? Prabhupada asked to his wife, tea or me? She has chosen
You want
tea.
tea or you want me?
Very good. This is the thing. Okay. Akinjan Prabhu, then Lakshman Prabhu. Akinjan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay. Akinjan Prabhu.
It will take some minutes.
Okay. Yeah, Lakshman Prabhu, you can continue.
I guess Akinchan Prabhu will do it, Prabhuji.
I don't know, maybe he's outside, maybe we'll do.
Okay, Prabhuji, I will do it then.
Yeah, after
Prabhu, yeah, till now what we have read is, I just wanted to recap, Prabhuji, because the failures are starting up. Abhay Charan Prabhuji, his failures are starting. One in Allahabad by Bose Laboratories. Okay, someone conspired against him and said he had made a 10,000 rupees of debt. Okay, so we should remove him. Somehow or other, it has got he has got out of that company. And then Smith's Institute, right, in Bombay, gone. Son of his own supervisor tricked against him, and then he has been out again. But all through, he was carrying out preaching activities with whatever money he has got, and on the other hand, family is not supporting him. Okay, so this is a chapter which we are going at, because this is just a starting. We will just see only failures now. Thank you. In Bombay, Abhay associated with Sridhar Maharaj and Bhakti Saranga Goswami. Both sannyasis were highly literate scholars. Sridhar Maharaj was respected for his erudition in the Shastras, and Bhakti Saranga Goswami for his writing and preaching in English. Sometimes Abhay would discuss his realizations with them. Yeah.
Reversals.
Abhay also. Prabhuji, can you please scroll up, Prabhu, a bit? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, this is the one. Should I read? No.
Not reading. Reading in Bombay.
This one. Yes, in Bombay is done, Prabhu. The one beneath this I should read. So can you please scroll up a bit? Abhay also studied the scriptures on his own. His spiritual master's commentary on the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as commentaries by the previous acharyas. While reading Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 41st verse, he read that disciple should consider the order of the spiritual master to be his life and soul. These words produced a deep effect on Abhay, strengthening his desire to execute Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's command. And in the 88th chapter of 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he came upon a verse in which Lord Krishna said something that startled him. Okay, what is it? Yasyaham anugrahanami harishye tadhanam shanai tato dhanam tyajantyasya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Should I continue or should I stop?
This one.
Yeah. When I feel especially merciful disposed towards someone, I gradually take away all his material possessions. His friends and relatives then reject this poverty-stricken and most wretched fellow. Abhay shuddered as he read this verse. It seemed to speak directly to him. But what did it mean? Does it mean, he thought, that Krishna will take away all my money? Was that what was actually happening? Was that why his business plans were failing? He discussed the meaning of the verse with Sridhar Maharaj. Yes, Sridhar Maharaj confirmed. This might very well be what was happening between Lord Krishna and Abhay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Akinja Prabhu, now are you able to read?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, in July 1935, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came to install the deity of Lord Krishna and to institute deity worship at Bombay Center. He was pleased with what his disciples had done so far, and Bhakti Saranga Maharaj admitted that much of the work was due to Abhay Babu, who had collected funds and established the new center. Why is Abhay living separately? Bhakti Saranga asked. He should be a president of this Bombay center. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati replied, it is better that he is living outside your company. He will do. When time comes, he will do everything himself. You don't have to recommend him. Abhay had not been present when this was spoken, but his godbrothers told him what Bhakti Siddhanta had said. These words these words of his spiritual master, with his mysterious prophetic air, were important to Abhay. He treasured the words within himself and meditated upon the meaning. In the November 1935, he was again with the spiritual master in Vrindavana. It was the Kartik season, the ideal time to visit Vrindavan. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was staying for the month with the disciples at the peaceful Radhakund, the sacred lake where Radha and Krishna used to sport. After leaving Bombay in July, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had gone to Calcutta, where he had spoken on radio, delivered many public lectures, welcomed back the preachers he had sent to the Europe, and finished publishing his Srimad Bhagavatam translation and commentary. Then in October, he had come to Radhakund, occupying the small one-story story house Bhakti Vinoda Thakur had constructed. He had been reading and speaking to the assembled devotees on the Upanishads, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. He had also installed deities at Sri Kunja Vihari Mat. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You want to continue?
No, Chandral Prabhu joined. I let him read. Chandral Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, please read.
Hare Krishna. The banks of Radhakunda were overhung with bright green foliage growing from the gnarled branches of ancient tamarind, tamala, and neem trees. In the shallows of the water, cranes stood on stilt-like legs, while river turns skimmed across the lake, sometimes abruptly diving for fish. Sometimes a tortoise would poke its nose up from the water's depth, or a fish would jump. Green parrots, usually in pairs, flow in and out of the green trees, and sparrows chip and hop from the place to place. Peacocks were also there, mostly in nearby gardens, as were occasional rabbits and even deer. The atmosphere was enriched with the history of Krishna Lila. 5,000 years ago, Radha and Krishna had engaged in transcendental pastimes here, and only 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya had rediscovered Radhakunda. Lord Chaitanya's great follower, Raghunath Das Goswami, had resided here for many years, constantly chanting Hare Krishna and discussing the activities of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And here in a small Bhajana Kutira, Krishnadas Kaviraja had written Chaitanya Charitamrita, the narrative of the pastimes of the Lord Chaitanya, that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati relates so much. Many of the inhabitants at Radhakunda were Babajis, living in a small bhajana kutiras and spending their time chanting Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Like, okay.
That's very cool. Yeah. Vani Mataji, Hare Krishna. Okay. Again, Mata is please read. Let us see. Another 15 minutes. Deepa Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Having heard of his spiritual master's stay here, Abhay, bringing his son with him, had travelled from Bombay just to have darshana of his spiritual master. To see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was always an occasion for jubilation, but to see him in Vrindavan was an added perfection. This meeting with his bride and friend was different from the time in 1932 when Abhay had seen him on the Vrindavan Parikrama. Now Abhay was no longer sitting anonymously in the back of a room. Now he was a bona fide disciple, recognized as the Kavi, who had written the praiseworthy poem and essay, the young man who listened well, the devotee who had helped the Allahabad Mutt and who had established the Mutt in Bombay. Already on this visit, Abhay had had occasion to be alone with his spiritual master, who had remembered Abhay's son and presented him with a small bandhi jacket. And now, as they walked together, alone on the bank of Radhakund, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta turned and spoke confidentially to Abhay. There have been some quarreling amongst his leading disciples in Calcutta, he said, and this distressed him very much. Even now in Vrindavan, it weighed heavily on his mind. Some of his disciples had been fighting over who would use various rooms and facilities at the Gaudiya Mutt headquarters in Calcutta. These devotees were all members of the same Mutt, and the building was for propagating Krishna consciousness under the leadership of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Yet even in their spiritual master's presence, they were quarreling. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas were supposed to be free from envy of any creature, what to speak of envy of one another. If they were to fight now, what would they do after their spiritual master passed away? Abhay had no part in these matters and did not even know the details or who was involved. But as he listened to his spiritual master, he also became distressed. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Samyukta Matas.
Yes, Prabhuji. Deeply concerned, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said to Abhay, Agunj Valibe, there will be fire. One day there would be fire in the Calcutta Gaudiya Mutt, and that fire of party interest would spread and destroy. Abhay heard but did not know what to make of it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had fought so long and boldly established that anyone of any birth could be elevated to become a Brahmana, a sannyasi, or a Vaishnava. But if his followers became contaminated by a little wealth and the desire for prestige, thereby showing themselves to be still low-class men despite their training and purification, then his mission would be disrupted. If in the name of religion they became attached to ease, position, and prestige, it could only mean that they had failed to grasp the teachings of their spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. He was lamenting that these men are simply after the stones and bricks of the building. He condemned. He was very, very sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sirisha Mataji.
Prabhuji, she went to drop. She will back. She will join in 10 minutes.
No problem. Alavanya.
When we were living in a rented house, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, if we could collect 200 or 300 rupees, we were living very nice at Utlaganda. Altadanga.
Ultadanga,
We were
Ultadanga
happy.
Mataji.
Ultadanga. We were happier there. But since we have been given this marble palace in Bagh Bazaar, there is friction between our men. Who will occupy this room? Who will occupy that room? Who will be the proprietor of this room? Everyone is planning in different ways. It would be better to take the marble from the walls and secure money. If I could do this and print books, that would be great. Abhay felt his spiritual master speaking to him in urgency. as if he is asking him for help or warning him to avert a disaster. But what could he do? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta then said directly to Abhay, Amar Icha Chaila Kichu by Karana. I had a desire to print some books. If you ever get money, print books. Standing by Radha Kunda and beholding his spiritual master, Abhay felt the words deeply enter his own life. If you ever get money, print my books. Yeah.
Print books. Haribol. Amar Icha Chila Kichu by Karana. If you ever get money, print books. That is instruction. Deep rooted. Abhay felt the words deeply enter his own life. That's why, Back to magazine, all the small books, all these translations. Great. Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, one more thing. I just wanted to add with this.
Yeah.
Like many devotees, they do this aparad actually. See, now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that there was a quarrel amongst the devotees, right? And from this, we have Chaitanya Math and Gaudiya Math. Both two, it has been bifurcated into two later. After Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's departure, there are two principal disciples of him who got divided. Okay, but in any sense, we should never demean them anywhere. Okay, yes, there was organizational dispute and it happened. But from our part, we should not do any Vaishnava aparad by saying it has been, completely deviated. We should never say that. We should be in our own this thing. We should know our awqat and we should be respecting them for what they are. Okay, Prabhuji. So no disrespect towards any math, either Gaudiya Math or Chaitanya Math.
Yes,
because what are they doing? They're still preaching, right? Yeah. So, and at the same time, we should also remember what, how the instruction has got from spiritual master to his disciple. So there are some personal instructions where spiritual master will be giving being very concerned. Okay. And he will reveal it to only some people, not all. Because not everyone will have that ability to take forward that. So when spiritual master found that this disciple is, what we say, capable enough, then he will give the instruction. And in the same time, also, by reading this example, we should not be becoming very close to our spiritual masters. Okay, our Diksha masters and all, Diksha gurus and all. Why? What happened is, this is a true story which I am telling you. This happened in US only. In US, okay, one Indian disciple reading Prabhupada books and all, he got inspired that he wanted to take some personal instruction from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Okay, and he was a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj only. So what happened? He moved from somewhere Hyderabad or Chennai or Bangalore to US very recently, and he shifted all his family. So he was about to get the citizenship. Okay, and all these things, everything is well planned, and he got initiated before 3 or 4 years, and now as Maharaj, the glare and all of Maharaj will not be as in India. When you go to US, you will get easily accessible to, okay, all these Maharaj and saintly persons there. So what he has done, he thought that, I should become serious in my devotional service and let me go and take a personal instruction from Maharaj. Okay. So he approached. Maharaj said, Maharaj, how can I serve you? Can please tell me your and all. So Maharaj just looked into his eyes and he said, why you have come here? Go back to India. So now that is a big blow to him, that he could not take it. Because from past 15 or 16 or so years, he was planning to stay and settle in America. Okay. And with one word, and that too from the spiritual master, it's a like of personal instruction. Go back. So what could he do?
He has to go.
That was he has to go now. But But 16 years of preparation within one word. So is he ready to go? Is his family ready to go? No. So how big burden it is on him. So whenever we, we wanted to take some personal instruction from Guru and all, we should be accepting that whatever it may come, only when we are ready for that, then go. Else don't go. Because now this person is is in a situation that mundu goya, enaku noya, he will be damned if he do, and he will be doomed if he don't do. Right? So whenever or wherever, if you want to take some spiritual instructions from your spiritual master directly, you should be ready for that. Okay? Else don't dare to do those things, because you don't know what might come from his mouth, and we should follow it when we ask. And if we don't do it, our spiritual life is doomed. Okay? Be very careful, because they are like fire-like personalities. We should be where we should be. Huh? Thank you so much.
And Prabhuji, most of the time, like always, we don't get the personal instruction, right, Prabhuji? We are not that much.
Yeah, that's very good, Mataji, that we didn't get personal message. But generally, if you see, he wanted to propagate his personal messages.
If we want anything.
Yeah, Mataji, actually, he always said, if you want some personal instruction from me, please listen my lectures.
But in some case, like we need like urgent or like personal instruction from our spiritual master, from his this one. So how can we
See, those will be not instructions, Mataji. That is a questions which you wanted to ask him. The queries, instructions are different, Mataji. Questions and queries will be different, and instructions will be different. If you are doubtful what decision to be taken, so these are the decisions and queries. That is different. But instruction is a different, Mataji. How you want me to serve in your spiritual world, spiritual journey. Okay, that's what instructions means. They are very dangerous. They will be, completely sacrificial, and they need a lot of sacrifice. So never ever dare to take personal instructions. You should be ready for that. Only then, if you are ready, then go ahead. No issues.
And we don't have that access to also, right, Prabhuji?
No, even if we have access, Mataji, are we ready? That's what the question which we should ask ourselves.
Yes.
See, let me put it like this, Mataji.
Because I have a doubt, Prabhuji. Like in olden days, there is a guru and there is a like disciples, and everybody is like intimate. Like they have everything like exchange or sharing whatever spirituality or whatever, because they know Maharaj mood, their guru mood, and he is like guiding always.
Yeah, but we have Siksha Gurus now, Mataji. Every here and there we have Siksha Gurus, and who are also inspirational. So we can take the help of them also. In that way, actually, the net is always there here also, Mataji. The safety net is always there. If not spiritual master, you have your own Siksha Guru, where you can go and have your queries and all be dealt with. If he cannot solve it, he will compulsory, take the help of his own Siksha Gurus or Diksha Guru, and then he will help you out in that. So that safety net is always provided even here also. Only thing is that, direct instruction from the Diksha Guru is not possible in many cases because of the present circumstances. Earlier, transport was not this easy, Mataji. So, whenever spiritual master comes to your hometown, it will be like a festival only for you. But now, even our own spiritual master, if he comes to Bombay, I couldn't go there because of my circumstances. So, things are changing. Things will be different at different times. But from the heart, internally, how I am changing and what is there any progress year by year, day by day, month by month, that I should check. and I should be reportable to my own Siksha Guru. This should be always there. Yeah, in that way, the safety net is always provided here also, Mataji. Now the discussion has been now going more, Mataji. I think people will get bored. Okay, so we will stop it here, Mataji. You have any more questions, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
the devotee came back to India or not, Prabhuji?
अरे ही केम बैक प्रभु जी. उसके बाद वो जो माता जी और वो प्रभु जी के साथ जो झगड़ा हुआ वो ऐसा हुआ तो फिर वापस गया फिर आया वापस ऐसा हुआ. Not that easy. Not that easy, Prabhuji.
He is in India, not Prabhuji. No, he is in India.
So actually, what has been done is, so they came to a compromise. Like, see that Mataji is not that devotee. What is this? That matured as this Prabhuji is. So what happened is she wanted to stay in US, and now he got instructed to come back. And if he alone comes back, Maharaj will not be pleased with that. Yeah. So what should he do? So they came back initially, and they struggled in Bombay for a lot of time. And then what they have done is they got the US citizenship by luck. So what they have done is they made their children educated there, their BTECs and all there, and they have been with OCA in India for some time. And now they came into India again at this time, before 2 or 3 years before, when their children's education has been completed and they got settled in US, and these people came back now. Both parents, like husband and wife, they came back. Children were still there. Okay. Prabhuji, when you plan for 15 years that we stay there and we live our life happily, and all of a sudden, if you have got instructed to come back, it's not that easy, Prabhuji. Yeah. So they also struggled. For their purification, they got the message from Guru Maharaj. But somehow or other, they struggled, Prabhuji. They struggled and they followed it. That is a good part of it. The good part is they struggled to follow, and in the process, they got purified. That is more important. Huh? Getting purification is more important because we'll be more eligible to go back to Godhead. Getting purified. That is important.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
One more thing, just to add, I read Srila Prabhupada purpose. The instructions when we received, when we take initiation at the time, the instruction itself is personal instruction. If you follow, our spiritual master is pleased. Guru Parampara is pleased. There is no specific, see how much he can serve, how long, so many disciples. He has various responsibilities to take care. So instructions itself is a personal instruction. If we follow, should master please. That's the thing. I recently read actually since Charitamrita Adilila, I forgot exactly which was. Yeah, personal instructions. Either kind of no specific, only yes to give. But anyway, we are surrendering to Guru and saying vows in front of human deities and by sacrifice. The personal that is also personal instructions. We chant Hare Krishna every day, 16 rounds without fail on the Japamala beads, following for regulatory principles and serving whatever best of capacity in the service of Srila Prabhupada as a servant of servant. That's where we do. That's itself is a personal instruction, right? Personally, we vowed, right? We have to follow. So actually, when we sincerely follow, automatically all the problems subside. Actually, by Krishna's mercy, by Guru's blessings, actually, we get that nourishment, we get that purity if we sincerely follow those instructions. No
So
specific.
we have to remember Tattenu Kampam Samiksham.
Yes. Actually, that's where there are so many responsibilities. He has to preach, he has to travel, and he has to inspire many. Spiritual mastery responsibilities more. Diksha especially. and they have to take care of various temples and responsibilities. So many headaches. That's why in our system, our Guru Maharaj system, there is a counselor system is there, and we have to find right people to share everything. I mean, dadati pratigrihnadi guhyamakyati krishyati, right? The 6 loving exchanges, right? We have to share, and along with we have to hear from somebody, whoever likes to take up our close association. So that's the thing. So not see how that's where it is. The instructions are already there. That itself is a strength. That itself is taking us to go back and back to 16 rounds of japa, 4 regulated principles sincerely, and following Srila Prabhupada mission as a servant of servant, whatever best of people. If we serve, we sincerely follow, along with our responsibilities, professional and familial responsibilities. That's it. And we regularly read it. That's why scripture itself is Krishna is a Param Guru. Jaga Vande Krishna Jagat Guru. What is that? Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. Krishna, see, automatically is representation of Supreme Lord only. Guru just talks through the instructions, of course. We follow sincerely. That's it. That is going to change our life. Yeah, I mean, of course, if somebody close connection with Guru Maharaj and establishing centers every year, some devotees are there, like they update to Guru Maharaj, Maharaj this year happened like this, so they get some suggestions, instructions. That is different story. If that's where I mean, we have Siksha Gurus there. They are directly reporting to Guru Maharaj. That's why we have counselor system is there. You get to know everything. Actually, you get to know now in Hyderabad, the ISKCON, our Gachibowli Bhakti Center. He knows. Radhesham Prabhu is already updated. This is Maharaj, is happening. This is the devotees, the community, IT people. They are starting. That's it. No, once he got the update, he already prayed. Always, he got the blessings. No need to separate. Okay, so our instructions are our vows. Guru Maharaj instructions are our vows. If follow sincerely, that's it. Okay, so we'll go to sloka recitation anyway. We'll stop here. This is another 15-20 minutes. Anyway, good discussion. So I'm just sharing here. Let us continue. Yeah, 15-20 minutes on these verses. So we are at 3rd verse, right? 3rd verse done now. Yesterday we practiced. We need every devotee to go ahead. Yes, Prabhuji.
So this we were discussing yesterday, that how great is the moments association with the pure devotee.
Why is your bunch of mic?
Acha, okay, 1 minute. Just my daughter is sitting with me, so వాళ్ళకి వినపడట్లేదంట. 2 minutes. So is it audible now, Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Yes.
So that one moments of association with a pure devotee, what is it cannot be compared with na swargam and na punarbhavam. Na punarbhavam means mukti. It cannot be compared with swargam, or it cannot be compared with punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya means the devotees sangha. What cannot be compared to swargam and punarbhavam. And what to speak of? Last line is martyanam kim tashisha. What to speak of other benedictions, so-called living, in the palatial buildings and all these things, material boons. उसके तो मतलब बराबर ही नहीं होता. उसके ऊपर, even if you cannot compare it with what all those two things, स्वर्गम and मुक्ति, उससे भी हम compare नहीं कर सकते. किसको? One moment of association with the pure devotee. Okay. Yes. So this is what these 4 lines mean. So everyone understood, na? It's from a simple this one shloka it is. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or shall I go with the line, 2 lines together, and you will
Yes,
start
Prabhuji.
practicing. Okay, 2 lines together, all the whole shloka and the whole shloka 3 times. Okay, and then we'll start practicing. Tulayamalavē nāpi na swargam na punarbhavam. Tulayamalavē nāpi na swargam na punarbhavam. Tulayamalavē nāpi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah.
Bhagavat sangasya
Tulayamalavē nāpi punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah.
Bhagavat sangasya
Tulayamalavē nāpi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah. Tulayamalavē nāpi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutashishah.
Bhagavat sangi sangasya
Yeah, now we are done. So you can go for individual practice now. Okay. Any difficulties, I will help. Amika Mami, you can please.
न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किमुताशिषः. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किम् उताशिषः.
Yes, Mataji.
तुलयामालवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किम् उताशिषः.
तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किमुताशिषः.
तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य
मृत्यानां किम् उत शिशः. ప్రభుజీ ఇంకోసారి చెప్తారు.
చెప్పండి మాతాజీ.
తులయామలవినాపి నా స్వర్గం నా పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మృత్యానాం కిం ఉత శిశః. పర్లేదా
యా బాగుంది మాతాజీ. Any more Matajis left? No, na? All are done. Akinchan Prabhu, go ahead.
Malevanapi na swargam na puribhavam bhagavatsanghi sanghyasya matyanam kim utasisha.
Yes, Prabhu. Chandramouli Prabhu.
तुलयामलावनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गि सङ्गस्य मत्यानां किम् उताशिषः.
లవేనాపి ప్రభు అది లవనాపి లవేనాపి ఇక్కడ లవేనాపి రాజు ప్రభు.
హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభు. లవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మర్త్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషః. హరే కృష్ణ.
హరే కృష్ణ. yes ప్రభు చెప్పండి ప్రభు.
హరే కృష్ణ. తులయామలవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మర్త్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషః. హరే కృష్ణ. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
హరే కృష్ణ. చంద్రమౌళి ప్రభు ఒకసారి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తారా మళ్ళీ?
షూర్ ప్రభు. తులయామలవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మత్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషః.
yes ప్రభుజీ. అండ్ గిరిరాజ్ ప్రభు.
yes ప్రభుజీ. one second. తులయామాలవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మర్త్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషా.
yes ప్రభు. హరే కృష్ణ.
అయిపోయిందా?
yes ప్రభు అయిపోయింది ప్రభు.
రేపు ఇంకోటి చేద్దాం. ఈ శ్లోకం రేపు చేద్దాం. తిరస్కృత.
yeah this is very very heavy shloka.
తులయామ చెప్పండి మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి. మా ప్రభుజీ
లెట్ మీ షేర్. నేను తప్పు చెప్పినా ఏమైనా?
కాదు కాదు, మీకే ఎగ్జామ్ ఉంది కదా, మీకే ప్రాక్టీస్ అవుతుంది.
ఎస్ షూర్. హోమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఉన్నా పడేగా. ఎస్. తులయామలవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మర్త్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషః. ఎవరెవరు రాస్తున్నారు ఎగ్జామ్ మరోసారి చేయండి. దీపమాతాజీ అండ్ వాణి మాతాజీ.
తులయామలవేనాపి న స్వర్గం న పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మర్త్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషః. హరే కృష్ణ.
వాణి మాతాజీ. హరే కృష్ణ.
తులయామలేవనాపి తులయామలవేనాపి తులయామలేవనాపి నా స్వర్గం నా పునర్భవం భగవత్ సంగి సంగస్య మృత్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషా. మృత్యానాం కిం ఉతాశిషా.
మళ్ళీ అండ్ ఫస్ట్ లైన్ మంచిగా ఉంటుంది. లవేనాపి 2 సార్లు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి.
తులయామలవేనాపి తులయామలవేనాపి తులయాలవేనాపి तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गि सङ्गस्य मृत्यानां किम् उताशिषः.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay.
మర్త్యానాం
మృత్యానాం
Yeah, no.
మర్త్యానాం
మత్యానాం ఆర్ సైలెంట్ గా ఉండాలా మతజీ? అక్కడ MART ఉంది కదా.
Mataji, it is
Martya.
MAR kabatti martyanam. Martyanam.
Mar-
If it is
marta hua-
MR, then
marta
it
hua
becomes
insan,
mrityanam.
ఓకే ఓకే
MR unte mritya అయిపోతుంది.
ఓకే మత్యానాం మ
हाँ,
ఫుల్ గా
मर्त्यानाम मर 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 के बाद ता मरता मरता हुआ इंसान मर्त्यानाम.
ఓకే. ఇంకొకసారి చెప్పిన మరి చాలా
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి మాత జంత చాలా.
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తుంటాం. Okay.
Now you have to tell without looking.
అంత టాలెంట్ లేదు ప్రభుజీ. గివ్ మీ సమ్ టైం.
మాతాజీ ఎగ్జామ్ వరకు చెప్తూనే ఉండండి.
Actually, anyway, Bhakti Vaibhava is not recitation. It's again, we have to remember the verse and write verse. Verse we have to write and translation we have to write. Not just like Bhakti Shastri, we have to recite in front of a devotee. No, it's a just.
Yes, but Prabhuji, if we know the correct pronunciation, we'll write the correct spelling also.
Yes.
చదివితేనే
Because we have to
వస్తుంది.
write అంటే we have to write the correct words.
Correct.
ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే వన్ లెటర్ తేడాతో కూడా మీనింగ్స్ మారిపోతూ ఉంటాయి సంస్కృత్ లో. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు బి కేర్ఫుల్.
అవును అవును మాతాజీ, యు ఆర్ రైట్. యాక్చువల్లీ కరెక్ట్.
మార్కులు కూడా అట్లనే చేంజ్ అవుతాయి మాతాజీ.
ప్రభుజీ వాళ్ళు అంత స్ట్రిక్ట్ ఉంటే కరెక్షన్ లో ఎంతమంది పాస్ అవుతారు ప్రభుజీ?
ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్ ఎవరి అట్లా ఓకే. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.
టైం ఉంటే స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి మన అంటే రెస్ట్ కెన్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దే వాంట్ దే కెన్ లాగ్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్ స్టే డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ దట్ టైమ్ లిమిటేషన్. But if we can like practice like with every new shloka, we practice past shlokas also repeatedly, then we'll remember.
Yes,
that's what I feel.
ఫస్ట్ 3 చేయండి.
ఇంకొక 10 minutes 15 minutes స్ట్రెచ్ చేస్తే మనం ఆ పాస్ట్ కూడా ఫినిష్ చేయొచ్చు ప్రభుజీ.
అందుకే చెప్తున్నా, ఇది మీరు మన ఉన్నాం కాబట్టి. సో మీరు 3 శ్లోకాలు చేయండి. మాతో 3 శ్లోకాలు చేస్తుంది, నేను కూడా చేస్తాను. యూ కెన్ ర్యాప్ అప్.
ఓకే, నేను స్టార్ట్
చేయండి, పర్లేదు.
ఓకే,
లేకపోతే వినండి, బెటర్. ఐ మీన్ మీకు ఒక ఐడియా ఉంటుంది. మాతో దీప మాతో కొంచెం
ఫస్ట్ సెకండ్ శ్లోక పర్లేదు ప్రభుజీ.
చేయండి.
ఉద్ధామ భావ పిసునా మలవల్ గుహాసా వ్రీడావలోక నిహతో మదనో పియాసా సమ్మూయ చాపమజహాత్ ప్రమదోత్తమాస్తా యశ్యేంద్రియాం విమతితుం కుహకైర్నశేకుః. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu.
థ్యాంక్ యూ మదర్. రాజు ప్రభు, మీరు రాస్తున్నారా? మీరు ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నారా? హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభు.
హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభుజీ.
మీరు భక్తి వైభవ్కు ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నారా ఎగ్జామ్ కి?
అవుతున్నా ప్రభుజీ.
మరి ఏది ప్రభు ప్రిపరేషన్ కాల్ జాయిన్ కావట్లేదు?
ఆ టైం కష్టంగా ఉంది ప్రభుజీ. మీరు ఒక టైం పెడితే కరెక్ట్ అవుతుండే, తర్వాత చూస్తున్నాను. అంటే
నైట్ 9 o'clock.
నైట్ 9 o'clock. ఎప్పుడెప్పుడు ప్రభుజీ?
రోజు ఎంటల్ ఎగ్జామ్స్.
రోజా ప్రభుజీ? ఇప్పటి నుండి జాయిన్ అవుతా ప్రభుజీ.
రోజు పెట్టినాను ఈ 1-2 weeks అంతే. తర్వాత మళ్ళీ వీ కెన్ గో బ్యాక్ టు
నేను ఇవాళ నుంచి జాయిన్ అవుతాను.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah, నేను కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతా ప్రభుజీ. 9 o'clock from today.
They uploaded all the question and answers. We just have to assimilate and we have to come up with some condensed answers. They have given some rough idea, but we need to practice. We need to come up.
Sure, Prabhuji. I'll join from today.
Okay.
9 o'clock, correct? I mean, pakka kada Prabhuji? There is no changes in the time.
No. 9 o'clock.
Daily 9 to 9:30 Prabhuji.
ఆధా గంట రోజు అరగంటనే. కొన్ని
Sure,
క్వశ్చన్స్
sure. Yeah, I'll join from
ప్రభుజీని అందులో యాడ్ చేయండి ప్రిపరేషన్ గ్రూప్ లో.
I am there, Mataji. I am there in the group.
అందులో పెడతారు మా ప్రభుజీ ఏ టైం.
అంటే అది కరెక్ట్ గా ప్రాపర్ గా లేక మాతాజీ టైమింగ్స్ అంటే ఒక రోజు ఒకలా ఉండేసరికి నాకు కన్ఫ్యూజన్ అంటే అది పాసిబుల్.
It's okay. We can join, Prabhu. We can join and we can do whatever. We can best of. Yes.
Yeah, I can join from today, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Second verse చేయండి వాణి మాతాజీ with quickly translation of. మాతాజీ హరే కృష్ణ.
ప్రభుజీ నాకేనా?
ఈ సెకండ్ ఇది కూడా చేయండి తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు ఇంతకుముందు నేర్చుకున్నాను.
ఓకే. భగవద్విదా భాగవతా తీర్థభూతా స్వయం విభో తీర్థి కుర్వంతి తీర్థాని స్వాంతహస్తేన గదాభృధా. My Lord, devotees like your good self are very holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all the places into places of pilgrimage.
Very nice. Yeah. Now today's. All of us respond. First line.
Tulayama vale. Tulayama valevana.
Lavena.
Tulaya lavenapi. Tulayama lavenapi. Adna swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangatsya. Martyanam kim utashishaha. Pronunciation correct వచ్చింది ప్రభుజీ. Martyanam.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. The value of a moment's association with the devotees of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter, and what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death.
Right. Thank you, Mother. Yeah, Deepa.
Yes, Prabhuji. Uddama bhava pishunamalavalguhasa व्रीडावलोकनिहतो मदनोऽपि आसां सम्मुह्य चापमजहात् प्रमदोत्तमास्ता यस्येन्द्रियं विमथितुं कुहकैर्न शेकुः उद्दामभावपिशुनामलवल्गुहासा व्रीडावलोकनिहतो मदनोऽपि आसां सम्मुह्य चापमजहात् प्रमदोत्तमास्ता यस्येन्द्रियं विमथितुं कुहकैर्न शेकुः. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. भवद्विधा भागवतास् तीर्थभूता स्वयं विभो तीर्थि कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि स्वान्तस्थेन गदाभृता. My Lord, devotees like your good self and are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. ఇది లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభుది ట్యూన్ ఏంటి ప్రభుజీ?
తులయామలవేనాపి భగవద్విదా భాగవత
మమ్మల్ని
తీర్థభూ సారీ బ్రో
Got it, ప్రభుజీ.
This way you have excitement, but I wanted to do భగవద్విదా తీర్థభూత స్వయం విభో అట్లా ఏంటి?
भवद्विधा भागवतास् तीर्थभूता स्वयं विभो तीर्थि कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि स्वान्तस्थेन गदाभृता.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. Yeah.
Yes. तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किं मुताशिषः. तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवम् भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किं उताशिषः. The value of moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. That means material prosperities which are for those who are meant for, that means there is end. The material prosperity doesn't
అంటే
end.
ఎవరైతే మెటీరియల్ వరల్డ్ లో ఉన్నారో దే ఆర్ ఓన్లీ మెంట్ ఫర్ డెత్. సో అండ్ మెటీరియల్ ప్రాస్పెరిటీ ఇస్
Material
ఆల్సో
things is perishable. That's what he is saying. Material things are all perishable. They are like equal to this.
They're
yes.
not. Anyway, I will quickly read her name. उद्धाम भाव पिशुनामलवल्गुहासा व्रीढावलोकनिहतो मदनोऽपि यासां सम्मुह्य चापमजहत्प्रमदोत्तमस्ता यस्येन्द्रियं विमतितुं कुहकैर्नसेतु. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tyrant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the God. Bhavadvidha bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirti kurvanti tirthani swantaste nagadabhruta. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all places into places of pilgrimage. तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत् संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किम् उतासिसः. The value of a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets and liberation from matter, and what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death. Yeah, we'll start in. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Reading ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Lilamritam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.